What's up, guys? You guys are probably all thinking, reading the title, this man is crazy. There is absolutely no way that he does not do water changes. Well, let me tell you, I do not do a single water change on all of my tanks. We'll get into why in just a second. Okay, before we get into the water changes, I just want to show you guys some progress here. Kathy, bless her heart, she's been getting out all of these wild irises that were back here. As you can see, the wheelbarrow's full and this river system is starting to look way better. We're gonna manicure this and take this up to the next level. But I wanted to show you Kathy and how determined she is.
What? Okay, this was rough. I am so done with the rest. It's Jerry's turn. Okay? I said if you were kidding about taking them irises out, I'm gonna kill you. What the heck?
Like I said, bless your heart, she is covered in mud. She was down there pulling these irises. I figured it would have been a Saturday when I was here and I would help, like we were just doing on the front pond. You seen Bobby pull out that big old root of iris. That was after I pulled the main bucket out with Mike. But that is a job and a half. So Kathy,
I fell
thank
twice.
you.
I got bored with that over there. So I figured Todd out here, I'll just put my feet over here.
Oh, that looks great. Wow.
Not realizing this is fish poop.
You are doing amazing. So this actually is a lot of sediment of mud from the pond because we've never actually cleaned this wetland filter. I want to drain this down and backwash it and suck all of this mud out because that's still all the mud and dirt from construction. But we were trying to keep all the bacteria in this pond and alive. But now the plants are in. It's a well-established pond, so we can go ahead and start cleaning out all this muck. Yeah, there's tadpoles in there. There's bullfrog right there. Oh, there he goes. Look at him. There is a couple, but there was a big old tadpole that just swam underneath this lily pad. Okay, back to this whole water change gig. Yes, that is correct. I do not do water changes on over 150,000 gallons that is set up in my whole facility here. We've got tanks upon tanks. The water's all crystal clear. Fish are big. They are huge, massive, lots of feed. So how do we do it? You guys are probably all scratching your heads, and some of you are like, haha, I've watched your videos for the last 3-4 years. I know exactly what you're about to say. Well, let's go ahead and dive into it and start talking about it. So for one, you guys know when fish poop, they create waste, which is in form ammonia. Ammonia gets turned into nitrites via your nitrifying bacteria, and then from nitrites into nitrates. The only way to remove nitrates is by doing water changes. That is the essential, purpose of doing water changes, is to get rid of those nitrates and keep the water healthy for your fish. So how do I get rid of nitrates without doing water changes? Well, here we have it. So the first defense that I have is plants. As you guys can see, my pothos have been growing rampant, and I absolutely love them. They're spreading down into the pool here. They're going up onto this filtration. I'm going to get them all across the tops of these tanks. They're branching over out into these tanks, past the 1,000 onto the 4,400. Pretty soon I'm going to have pothos everywhere. And of course, we've got the plants inside tanks that are all plumbed together on the same system. So I add plants where and when I can, because plants feed off of nitrates. So yes, you probably guessed it, plants are good for a healthy aquarium. Why do you think natural ponds work so well? So the first and foremost, I try and get as much plants as I possibly can onto our system. Looking at the monster pond room, you can see on this tank here, I've got pothos growing in the water. You can see all of these fibrous roots, and the older they get, these start branching off and they just get longer and longer and longer. These are probably trimmed back a little bit because of the plecos in here and the fly river turtle. but the pothos is doing phenomenally well. You can see across this whole stream idea, this is our water return. We've got plants all down here because we can't really have plants in the water because the monster fish eat them, destroy them. So we have this whole river system filled with nothing but plants that eats out a lot of the nitrates out of the water. And we've got floating, what are those, peace lilies that are floating on the water. They do phenomenally well with low light and, you know, cooler temps. Because in the wintertime, this room can get down to about 60 degrees, but the water temperature stays at around 85. I've got a huge peace lily in this corner that's down in the water. And then on the steps over there, I have more plants. But a good portion of these around the edge are going to be going outdoor onto the back deck. So now diving back into the whole water change, you know, phenomenon, you're probably thinking that's not enough plants to go ahead and do no water changes. Well, this, like I said, it's the first defense, and it definitely helps. So instead of, you know, doing 50% water changes, your plants, depending on the quantity, can bring it down to about, let's say, a 25% water change. Now, when you're dealing with monster fish and 150,000 gallons, you can put that many plants on and save that much water. That is absolutely insane. So now, what do I do with the rest of, you know, the other 25% that I'm supposedly supposed to be changing, and I'm not? All right, before we get into the second portion of this video, I've got some bad news for you guys. We are in this 1,800 gallon Bellagio aquarium, and I'm doing my daily checks, and all of a sudden I noticed someone down at the bottom. Who is that? Is that Little Rich? Oh my God, no! That is a very, very sad moment. We've had this guy in this tank for close to a year. He's not all beaten up like he was attacked to death. I think, you know, he just succumbed to either old age or there was something wrong with him internally. I never know how old or what kind of condition some of these fish are in or what kind of traumas they went in their past when I rescue them. But all I can know is I gave him a great life. And Joey got to name him right before he went. So there we go. Let's go ahead and pull Little Rich out of here because he's no more. So very sad. But you know what we do here at the rescue when I know a healthy fish passed on along past the Rainbow Bridge? Well, we take them out to the monster pond, and what better burial for such an epic fish than to go to Mr. Brutus. And he is gone. But that is the circle of life here at Ohio Fish Rescue. That was a healthy fish. I know there was nothing wrong with them, so I went ahead and fed him to the monster pond. Circle of life, that's less food I have to feed, and I don't have to go and either throw the fish in the woods or bury them back there. I think this is the you know, best sense for smaller fish that pass along here. If it was like a quarantine fish and it was sick, I would not do this by any means. Jumping back into it, let's go ahead and talk about what I do with the rest of the water that needs changed each week. So you guys know that I have all of my tanks on the same system. So this allows all the water to be cycled through all the tanks. And, you know, all the filters kind of work in unison with each other. The main filtration being out here in the monster pond. So I reduce my water changes with the addition of all the plants, and I'm still adding more on as days go on. I am always, you know, trying to fine tune and change my system and make it for the better. So with, you know, removing, you know, particulates and matter from the pond, that helps a lot. But there's also still a factor of water that needs to be replaced. So since I have my tank plumbed together, I can essentially take a couple of those tanks and I have them ran to a drain. So I have a constant stream of water that is flowing into the monster pond all day long. This is 24/7. We drip in between 2,000 and 3,000 gallons of water a day, more like 2, because we've been turning it down as time goes on, because there hasn't been a need to it. Our water stays between 10 to 20 parts per million. Most of the time it's closer towards 10, and that all depends on bio load, how much I feed, stuff like that. It all factors into it. So I'm still adding in water, but it's going straight to the drain after it goes through my complete system. So what that allows me to do is I don't have to sit here and drain a tank and replace the water. So I'm technically not doing a water change, but I am still adding in water. It's mixing in and it's going to the drain. So for that other 25% of water, it's still being swapped out, but by no work by myself. And this always makes me have extra water in my reservoir to where if we do have to do a water change on, say, the quarantine tanks, we can just drain them and fill them with our tank water. So this makes it all pretty much automated. And as time goes on, I try and make things more automated that I possibly can. And it takes time and effort out of, you know, the hobby. So I'm not spending hours and hours and hours each week doing water changes, you know, spending that time monitoring fish. I'm doing projects, you know, doing what I can, because if I was spending this much time and doing water changes on all of my tanks, I would not be where I am today and not be able to do it. So we went ahead and put our brains together and figured out the best way to get this stuff done. So, you know, it just takes a little bit of coaching to get you to think of these ideas and how you can implement it. But this kind of brings me to my next point I want to bring up. We went ahead and restructured our YouTube memberships. So we have 5 tiers now. Each tier gets their own perks. And with the highest tier comes the aquarium coaching. So you guys can get one-on-one time with Big Rich and Josh, or if you want someone else, that's possible as well. You have things like Discord channels. We've got members-only live streams, members videos, posts, polls. If you guys want to be incorporated in the decision-making here at Ohio Fish Rescue, you guys can take part in the members-only polls. Say if we want to name a new fish, we'll put up some options and let you guys decide. Or we're thinking about doing a new project and we want your guys' help with it. We'll put it up and you guys can be a part of that discussion and the decision making, which is pretty awesome. So I just made that go live just the other night. So if you guys are interested in that, go ahead and check it out. Things are going to get real awesome around here. It is summertime, so the projects are flying. I'm still waiting on my hose for that 1,000-gallon tank. I'm starting to get a little angry with that. They said it'd be here in 2 days. 2 days is up, and I'm still waiting on my hose. So hopefully that'll be here relatively soon. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I will catch you in the next one. Stay fishy, my friends.